Good afternoon and welcome along to the Rugby League verdict. Some huge news broke on Monday with France announcing they have withdrawn from hosting the 2025 Rugby League World Cup due to financial reasons. Now today I am joined by pundit Jon Wilkin and former England captain and Catalan Dragons star Sam Tomkins. Jon, Sam, welcome and thank you both for your time. Jon, let me start with you. The Sky Sports team first caught wind of this story on Thursday night and discussed the possibility of it happening. What was your reaction when you heard it was official?
Well, I'm not altogether surprised. If you look at the political sort of landscape in France at the minute, it's very complicated. Emmanuel Macron's had 2 votes of no confidence. People are striking over the retirement age being lifted from 62 to 64. The government are going after banks over 2.5 billion euros of fraudulent tax issues. They're tightening the belts all over the show. And what I would imagine, in the light of all that, the political pressure to host a tournament that's of little interest to people in Paris, that's going to lose money, would be a logical sort of thing to assume would be the case. You know, decisions are made in Paris. It's very much like London and the north in this country that don't really reflect the feeling, you know, and certainly in Perpignan, Carcassonne, in Limoux, in Toulouse, in some of the really strong rugby league areas. It's such a disappointing decision, but I think completely understandable when you look at the politics. You know, there's protests going on at the minute. The French people are unhappy, so the government maybe have taken an easy option here.
Yeah, well, Sam, just last year you captained England to a World Cup semi-final. You live in France. Obviously, you're eager to see the game continue to expand there. How disappointed would you say you are by the news?
Yeah, really disappointed. You know, the appetite for the World Cup to come to France, certainly around this area, was huge, and it was set up to be a huge boost for French rugby league, but for I think a lot of the reasons that Jon just stated, then it can't be so. I know the boys, when we were in training, there was rumblings of it over a few weeks ago, but to get it confirmed, yeah, I think it's certainly a huge blow for French rugby league.
Sam, what has the reception been like in France?
Frustration, really. I think you know, there's a huge amount of people around the south of France that absolutely love rugby league, and to host the biggest competition possible on the home soil was something that I know a lot of people were really looking forward to. I think financially there was just too many obstacles to cross. You know, for towns and cities to host a game, it was costing them €250,000. Which just wasn't viable for most places, meaning that they couldn't get that guaranteed income.
Jon, a question for you. I mean, for England Rugby League to, I suppose, succeed on the world stage, it's important to have a competitive France. I think it's fair to say that the 2025 World Cup was a step in the right direction. So how does this outcome impact the international game?
Well, look, we're a game obsessed with growth, and I've said this a number of times. We don't need to look much further than France for where the game can be grown. It's an amazing part of the world that's got such a rich history with the game. Obviously, rugby league was banned by the Vichy government in the early 20th century. So it's for rugby league to survive and then thrive, and Sam Tomkins' Catalan Dragons do what they do so consistently well. I think rugby league in France is a must for the sport of rugby league, and it's just paramount that we invest and back sport in France. It's a big blow. England need a local rival that they can play international test matches. But off the back of the World Cup, right, we spoke so much about the positive impacts of the 2022 World Cup, and it's so rugby league then to go and cancel a tournament, the next tournament. Not just cancel a game, cancel an entire tournament. And all of the hard work, all of the people that become incredibly interested in the wheelchair game, in the women's game, you know, watching the Gillaroos play, watching the amazing French wheelchair team play, watching the men's teams fight it out, all of that is now sort of overshadowed by the announcement that the French government don't want to host the tournament. I think it's desperately sad for a number of reasons, but yeah, one of those reasons would be England needs a competitor close by, and it's certainly not getting it from Ireland, Wales or Scotland. So France is the place where we'll get that competition. And French Rugby League is tough, it's resilient, it survives, and it's thriving right now. Just look at Catalan Dragons. We should all, every time that team runs out, we should all form a guard of honour for Bernard Gouache and what he's done for rugby league in that part of the world, and maybe stay there for Sam as he comes out. How nice is Sam's kitchen, by the way? That looks incredible.
Sam, lovely kitchen. Listen, Jon, strong words from Jon there. Do you agree with him? I mean, would you almost say that it is devastating for French Rugby League, this news?
Yeah, I'd 100% agree with that. It is devastating because, you know, as you touched on there, for a successful England side, which is what I want more than anything, we need a successful French side, or at least a competitive French side, and that means we need to invest in French Rugby League. We need it to grow. It's certainly got the potential. You know, I think everybody involved in Rugby League can see the potential. You know, I certainly can, being based here for the last 5 years. It starts at grassroots, but I think, you know, look at the amount of players that we're now providing in Super League, quality French players. And Catalan of old was a lot of French guys filling in spaces where they couldn't get an overseas quota spot in, and that's not the case anymore. You know, we've got more and more quality French players playing Super League, and more to come. You know, we've got a great reserve side that, you know, Steve McNamara employed Eamon O'Carroll, the former Wigan and Widnes prop forward, to come over and coach. And I know Eamon as a friend and as a colleague at the Dragons. He's doing everything he can to make sure that the next crop of French players come through and they're successful. And I think that goes hand in hand with a successful England side, because, you know, as an England team, we want to be playing regular internationals. That's the only way you improve. You can't improve through training once a month together, and then at the end of a season expect to go and win a World Cup or win a Four Nations. You've got to be playing a little bit more regular than that. And, you know, France is 2 hours away from England. I think if we can promote and create a competitive French side, you know, there could be 2-3 internationals throughout a year leading into the end of season where we go and play the teams from the Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah, the timing of it all is certainly unlucky. Jon, New Zealand have put their name forward alongside Australia, South Africa, Fiji and Qatar. I mean, Qatar would be an interesting move for the game. Would you agree?
It'd be very left field. I fancy Fiji for a number of reasons, Jenna. You know, fantastic. What a place Fiji is. That would be an amazing tournament to cover, wouldn't it? Look, Qatar's an interesting one for me because a game that's obsessed with growth has snubbed opportunities like Toronto, has not got a London franchise in the competition at the minute. So to take the game to Qatar would be profiteering in the extreme. It'd be just, let's take the path of least resistance. I think there should be an ambition to host the tournament in an area where there is potential to grow the game and for the game to exist at grassroots level. I think ultimately that would be the aim. New Zealand and Australia are obviously logical. Pacific Islands for me is a hotbed of rugby league that really could do with the economic boost of the tourism that would come along with the World Cup. You know, I'd push for that, for Samoa, Tonga, Fiji, Papua New Guinea to all get their heads together and host the tournament. It logistically would be very challenging, but it's something I really enjoy, Jenna. You know, I'd get the swimming shorts out, the sunglasses, you know, maybe a few mojitos on a beach. It's, you know, I mean, I'm campaigning for the Pacific Islands right now.
It does certainly sound very tempting. No decision has obviously been made yet. Troy Grant, the chair of International Rugby League, did say that they are running out of time, so a decision will be made soon.